guys, what we're gonna do here today is basically do a lateral workout. Basically, big idea is strengthen all these medial and lateral muscles to give some extra strength to your running. Now the reality is most distance runners don't do any lateral type of movement, so they get predominantly strong in quads and hamstrings and then very weak in abductors and adductors. So it becomes really important to balance out your system. So what I want to do today is get our lateral circuit in and get a little work done. Excellent. All right, let's start with Josh. So Josh, what we're going to do here is we're going to start with our lateral duck walk. Basic idea as you go down to that cone and back is to start moving, starting with a straight leg on that front leg, and then as you come through, you're pulling through with those inner thighs, the adductor muscles of the leg, go from the groin all the way down to the knee. You start straight, pull the back leg straight, and bring it across. So you should be feeling it along those inner thighs.
Absolutely.
So you reach out and then pull that back leg through. So you sort of drag the back leg to really work those inner thighs.
Yeah.
All right, now if we go down, we gotta come back. So opposite motion, right leg reaches out straight, then bends and pulls the back leg through as it becomes straight. Good job. Trying to keep the hips level, shoulders level, and keep the center mass over the middle of your body so that we're not leaning too far one side to the other. How's that feel?
You really feel it on the pull through.
Excellent. Yeah, the harder you pull through and resist against the ground, the greater the work on that adductor.
That's great.
Excellent. So now we got to come out and come back with our abductors. So in this way, we'll start with a skip motion, basically because when you run, you're doing a lot of bouncing and skipping. So skipping is a good way to teach it in the beginning. So all you're going to do is a lateral skip, slight bend in the knees. You're going to adduct and abduct at the same time. So left leg abducts, right leg adducts as you go down across. Trying to keep these feet perpendicular to the way you're moving so that we don't rotate too far one way or the other. Now let's try going back. So slight bend in the knees, hips are trying to stay level, abducting one leg while you adduct the other. Excellent. All right, Josh, so now what we can do is provide a little extra resistance to this workout. So what we're gonna show you here is instead of the duck walk, it'd just be a lateral walk. You're gonna start with a slight bend in your knees, whereas the last one we had straight, and you're gonna use the resistance band to create some tension on these muscles as you go. So as the left leg reaches out, it abducts from the hip, working glute medius and glute minimus against the resistance of the TheraBand in the opposite leg. We want to keep that weight over the middle of the body and try to keep the hips from dumping. So the hips should try to stay level all the way through. Once you get the feel for it, we're going to try to keep our head up and nice in line. That helps keep the back so we don't arch. And then we come back the other way. So now right leg abducts against the tension of the left leg. Feeling that?
Yeah, how far should I be reaching out
So,
with my front leg?
Obviously with the tension of the band, it's gonna be, how strong you are against that band. You don't wanna reach so far that your hips have to drop a lot. The idea mostly is just waking up those muscles. They don't have the large range of motion. So if we're going out, foot, 2 feet, that's plenty of resistance work to really fire up those hips. Feeling that deep into those hip sockets?
Feeling the burn.
Excellent. All right, so a variation on that is if we take that band and actually put it up by your knees. Just a little different change, it's gonna activate a little harder. But what we're gonna do to make it more challenging is we're gonna do a deeper squat. So Ryan's gonna take a little deeper bend into those knees and basically do the same routine. So he's gonna work down, abducting. Now that the band is up on the knees, it goes higher up into the hips than if the band is just down by the ankles. So abducting the left leg as he adducts the right leg. With the resistance band, one leg works against the other. Now a great way to start is even just without a resistance band, just to learn the movement and kind of wake up those proprioceptors in glute medius, glute minimus, piriformis, all those deep six hip rotators.
I think one thing that you don't want is you don't want your knees collapsing like that.
Without a doubt.
Like that's not right.
Ideally, you want to work on keeping the knee, the hip, and the shoulder all in line with that foot as it hits the ground. The other thing is keeping the foot perpendicular to the way you're going. Great job, Ryan. All right, so we're gonna finish off with the toughest one of this circuit, which is what we call the medial hops. And what this is really gonna do is bring that explosion to it, but it's really gonna challenge you in that fashion of really waking up all the muscles that have to protect that knee. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna come over here, you're gonna start with the right leg, so the left leg is gonna come up and you're gonna hold that position, and you're gonna hop over these hurdles with that back leg. Give it a go, Josh. Nice job. Probably the most difficult one Not an easy one to start with. It's definitely an advanced exercise. Come through, Josh. So what Josh is doing, he's got an instant reaction time to do a medial hop. We don't do lateral hops strictly because it becomes a lot of load on that IT band, and we know as distance runners, IT bands get really tight.
Yeah.
So typically distance runners need that strength more on the medial side, and that's why we focus on the medial hops.
I know a lot of times when I'm doing these, we won't have hurdles, so I'll just do it over air hurdles, you know, pretend like there's a hurdle there. And with these bands, you know, I was able to just pick one of these up online really easy. TheraBands is what they're called, right?
Yeah, without a doubt. And all the bands have different resistance, so you can start with a very light tension and move all the way up into a really hard tension if you've mastered those first ones.
I know for myself too, like I tend to get tight in my hips, or I feel it in my hips, but it's really my glutes, and this has really helped me strengthen my glutes a lot and be able to run a faster marathon.
Without a doubt.